Hi, audience out there on my YouTube channel. I don't know what to call all you guys. Subscribers, I have none. I don't even really have anybody who has viewed my channel yet, but I hope to have quite a few viewers, and I hope to get people who will follow me. What makes people happy? What makes you happy? Babies, kittens, puppies, that's what makes me happy. Flowers, like pretty things, colors. There's a lot of things in my life that make me happy, but everybody is different. Absolutely everybody in this world is a completely different person inside, and different things that they like and they don't like, and different colors they like and don't like. It just becomes who they are. So to me, I had a very wonderful 3 days looking after my little two grandchildren, while their mother was out having the third baby. And today she brought the baby home and put my fifth grandchild in my arms, and I was able to feed her and snuggle her and change her bum. And that made me so happy. Oh my goodness, I just felt the joy of having that grandchild. And throughout the last couple of days of watching the other two, we had a lot of really funny, heartwarming moments with them. And you just have to cherish those particular moments and not worry about some of the other moments that aren't so good. But most of our moments were wonderful today. Yeah, that's what makes me happy. So, I really would like to help people be happy, and I'd like to work with people who don't seem happy or can't find a path to being happy, because not everybody knows how to become happy if they're currently in a situation that their life is not very happy for them. And I say for them because it's who they are and not what other people want them to be. And that's a very important point, because if you're not who you are in your deepest soul, then you are not really doing, if you're not doing what you want to do in your deepest who you are, then if you're doing things because other people expect things out of you, or cultural, all of the world things, right? I think I talked about that in my first video, and I must apologize for my first video because it was my very, very first video ever, really. So it was a little nerve-wracking, and I did talk a lot about my own history of my life, but I think you know who I am now, so I'm going to carry on. Everybody's different. Everybody in the entire world, everybody. Nobody is exactly the same. Even if you look alike, or even if you're twins, you still have likes and dislikes. Sometimes identical twins do like the same things. It could be genetics, I don't know. But so you have to find out who you are, what you like, what makes you happy in your life. When you do that, then you can figure out how to make yourself happy and what it is that you need to do to make yourself happy. And by doing my coaching, it's a 10-week program, and it's going to walk you through how to find out who you are, what your interests are, not only what your interests are, what you're actually good at. If you're doing a job that you're not good at, you're not going to be happy because you're not in your joy, if you want to put it that way. If you're enjoying your job, even though it is a job, they say, but some people are just doing the job to pay the bills, and they're not really happy. I know sometimes people can't get a job in a field where they do feel joy. Maybe just that should be your pastime. But if you really do not enjoy your job at all, any part of it, then maybe that is what's making you unhappy. And I can help you look at that. And I know there's challenges, but you know what? They say that in order to learn, you need to go through the pain of hurting in order to know that you've got positive. So I'm not saying pain, but you need to learn lessons in life and analyze what's going on in your life, and not just go along mundane, day-to-day activities, housework, and looking after the kids and taking them and then going home and going to work. It's just on a hamster wheel of life. And to be truly happy, people need to get off the hamster wheel. And I just look at those cars that drive to the big city near where I live every day. I've never done that. I always live 10 minutes from my work, and I did that because I knew that if I was to have to drive that far in a vehicle every day, it would not make me happy. So you have to be where you're happy. You have to live where you like. You have to like your environment, enjoy the people around you, and it's the whole package. Anyway, um, that's a big basis of the program. The program that I am going to run is involved with answering questions about yourself, diving deep into your shadow work, which is all those memories and things that are hidden inside your brain that you forgot about, because you do. You really do forget about the hurts and you bury them, even if you have not dealt with the stuff that was bad in your life that you have buried deep and just wanted to forget about. I don't think forgetting about it is a way to go, because when you forget, you bury it in your subconscious mind. You need to remember it, you need to deal with it, you need to. It's called shadow work, and they call it shadow work because it's not a bright star. It's dark work. It's work where you sit and you think about your life, what hurt you in the past, how did you feel. You need to feel that emotion. You need to hold the emotion in your mind, and you need to close your eyes and feel that emotion, because and let yourself feel it, because once you feel that emotion, you just release it. And if you know that it was never your fault, and if it was, then you need to make amends of that. But most of the time that people blame themselves for things, as I do know, because I did it. I blamed myself for so much all my life. I really thought I was the reason that, so and so was angry, or I was the reason that so and so didn't go somewhere, or I I gave myself a lot of guilt for no reason for other people's anger. And people need to look at that and find out, um, if you're angry or you have trigger points. They call trigger points because they're points that trigger that unconscious emotion that's inside your brain that you aren't even aware of, that you buried there. Who knows, you may have forgotten about the incident, but it's there. And if you take time and meditate. I say meditate. I know it sounds kind of woo woo. I don't know who out there is woo woo and who's not. I personally am, and I embrace it, and it's wonderful. And if you don't want to be, that's okay, because shadow work is not all about woo woo. It's about looking inside your own thoughts, looking inside your own memories, digging out the deep hurt that was there, dealing with it, crying over it. Trust me, there's crying over it once you start remembering things that you forgot and how you felt about that moment. And there is a lot of emotions that are hidden in memories that you may not have even remembered, or yeah, and they come out. I've just been walking my brain through my whole life of different things that happened and why, and how I felt about certain things as we went along in my life. And I actually, when I got out of it now, I think back to it and I'm like, oh, that doesn't do anything for me anymore, because I've released that emotion of that hurt in my brain. Um, there's an again. We're gonna stop the ums. Anyway, if somebody does finally watch my video, maybe you can comment and tell me what I really should call you guys. I call you the guys because I don't even know. The community. It's not really a community. Anyway, enough of that. I'm new to this and I'm got a few glitches here and there. Yeah. So to make us happy, we just need to dig out all those old memories. But all of the things in the world right now, before you can even dig out those memories, are joys in life. Look at the flowers, look at the trees, watch. I'm one who just loves nature. I love to sit outside and watch the wind blow through the trees and watch the leaves blow. And I've always loved camping, and that's just who I am. If you're not, then find something else. If you have a condo in the sky in a city, watch the lights twinkling at night on the roads, and that maybe you like that. I don't know. I prefer nature. But of flowers, who can say that flowers are not joyful? I mean, when flowers are a thing that if you want to cheer someone up, you send them flowers. So you know what? Look at the flowers outside. Where I live, spring is springing, and the blooms are coming out, and I can't wait to see all the flowers in my yard. Um, Another sorry. Just when I was a kid, one of my favorite activities was to lie on my back in the summertime in my backyard on the grass and watch the clouds and use my imagination to pretend what the clouds looked like. I used to do it with my friends, and we used to laugh, and we used to compare what the clouds looked like, and oh, what did you see in the clouds? I still do that when we're driving on the highway in the morning early, and I'm in the passenger seat and I'm looking out the window and it's the clouds are out, and I'm always looking at the clouds, and I'm always remembering, like, oh, I just try to interpret what the clouds look like, or what kind of clouds are those. I actually learned all the different kinds of clouds and what they are in my learning journey. Trust me, I have a lot of learning journeys, which I'll share with you as I go on with these videos. I'm not going to make this one too long. I hope to post a couple times a week for all those who would love to join me, because actually, believe it or not, I'm enjoying doing these videos. Yeah. And this works where I am, so I don't think I need a little room where I can talk to you guys. I'm quite happy down here in my space. Anyway, I hope to get subscribers. I hope to get some people that I can comment with and I can share my thoughts with. And I hope to be out in the life coaching community very shortly. I need to get all of my presentations completed, although I don't know if I really need to do that. Maybe once I get used to doing just this, maybe I can just use that material as a guide, and rather than trying to get a whole presentation. Maybe I'm skipping ahead. I don't know. Maybe comment if there's anybody out in the community that has already done it, been there, done that. I'm going to jump over a few hurdles, and this being my biggest hurdle by putting myself on YouTube. I've always thought I've had a fear of starting this business just because I'm going to be live on camera, and I was afraid of what I was going to say and how I was going to say it, and then I might have made a fool of myself. But you know what that is? That's fear. That is fear of judgment. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons I learned when I was going through my self-discovery thing is we all have fear of judgment. We all have fear of judgment. That's why we worry about what we wear. We worry about what we look at. Like, don't look at, just put what you like on and look in the mirror and tell yourself you're beautiful. Because if you take care of yourself and groom yourself properly and, make yourself up the way you like who you are. Some people like to be made up more than others, and that's fine. But you have to really like what you see. I really think that is one of the biggest things of having a happy life, is liking what you see in the mirror. And my course also goes through a module on self-esteem. I had no self-esteem my whole life. I mean, I wasn't, I was social enough with people, and I thought I liked how I looked, but what I didn't like was my behavior, which I thought was bad. But no, I don't think it was. I think it was just, I did talk a lot. I probably annoyed people, and I admit that, but that's okay. I understand that now. Now that I understand who I am, the way I was, why, it makes me feel so good, because now it's like, oh my goodness, they like me anyway. It's me that doesn't like me. So once you like you, it's like you have this beam of light that attracts other people. I don't think I'm going to be really super social, because I'm not a super social person. I spend most of my time with my very close family and my grandchildren and our close group of friends with my husband. Yeah. So I'm a whole lot happier than I used to be. I do not self-sabotage. I do not self-negative talk. I still have triggers of things that bug me, but I'm working on that. And sometimes I try not to judge. It's really hard to come completely out of judgment of people. I'm sorry. The world is crazy, and I want to focus on the people that all that craziness is affecting, because it shouldn't affect you unless you're directly involved in the situation. I know there's a lot of judgment out there about people and about groups and about everybody, but we are all human. But if people want to be fearful and staying in that fear and that judgment thing, then I really hope they see the brighter path in life. And if you can't, then, I would like to help some people see the brighter path in life. Because it's important that the world get happier. And I say that on a global view. Okay? It is a beautiful world. Have you looked at a beautiful waterfall? I was thinking back the other day of a trip that I took with my husband way back in the early, mid 80s before we had kids. And we took this spur of the moment boat trip. I wouldn't have called it a cruise ship. Uh, it was called the MS Vacationer. And it was a old ferry that was converted into a boat with bedrooms. We called it a garbage scow, but it was actually okay. It was okay to sleep on because every single morning we were at a different island in the Leeward Islands of the Caribbean. And we were tendered into the island, and then we got back to the ship in the evening, had entertainment, and took off to the next island. So it was a 7 island hopper boat that we didn't spend much time on the boat but sleeping and eating. We toured 8 islands in the including these tiny little ones you may have never heard of, like St. Kitts. No, I'm sorry, not St. Kitts. Saba. Saba is, I think it's a Dutch. I'm not going to go off on a tangent talking to you about that because, yeah. Anyway, the boat trip took us to Montserrat, which I don't know how many years ago now that volcano erupted. And it was 86 the year we were on this trip. And we had to hire a taxi guy, and the island was so small at the time that the locals went out and had got to be taxi drivers. They all got the day off and they got to be taxi drivers, except some of the bar owners, because the ship people were coming in, and it's a very small island. And so they all came and they taxied us around. We hired a taxi guy, and he was super nice. He spoke broken English. Very nice guy. We toured the island, and then he took us up to the top of the volcano in Montserrat. I have a picture of me standing at the mouth of the volcano in Montserrat, and you could smell the sulfur and you could see the steam coming off the mouth of the volcano, and that like erupted and destroyed half the island. I don't know, maybe 20 years later. I'm not sure of the date of that. And that memory was like, wow, I did some really crazy things, like neat, amazing things in my life. And you know, when you think back to all those little memories, and on the same day we hired a walking guide, another couple. We were very brave at the time. Anyway, a man that was standing against the tree. It was a very elderly man, of color, and he was so nice. He told us he'd take us on a trip. We gave him some money, and there was my husband and I and another couple, a younger couple, I think, a girl and a guy. And I did not come prepared to go on a walking tour through a jungle that started pouring rain in the tropicals. Up the hill, it was a very long trail, and I had lower heels on, but I had a skirt. The skies opened up while we were going up the volcano, around the side of the volcano, and we were saturated, and he held my hand and that girl's hand and led us up because it was mud. It was muddy and it was like a trail. We went up to the top of the trail, and we weren't sure. It took a long time to get up, and but in my back of my mind I was like, oh, I don't know, where are we going? I really hope we're okay because I'm trusting this guy, and he seemed like a nice guy, so we just went with it, right? And we suddenly got to this opening at the top, and there was a big rock, and it was the most beautiful waterfall you'd ever seen. It's like those pictures that you see where the people are under, the travel ads. That was it. It was, and when I think back, I have a picture of us. There wasn't many pictures back then. They were expensive. You only had 24 per roll, and you didn't know if half of them turned out. So, back then we didn't take a ton of pictures, but in my mind I have that. I do have the picture of us. It was amazing. And the guy was and all he did was sit on the rock and let us swim. We had our bathing suits on because we were going to the island, and we always had our bathing suits on in the Caribbean just in case. But it was like, it was just amazing. And then he was so nice. We walked us back down the trail, and it had stopped raining by this time, and we dried out a little. And yeah, it was beautiful. That was an amazing day up in the volcano of Montserrat. So, you know what? Think back, there's probably spots in your life where you were like, wow, I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed that. And I forgot about that. Those are the little moments that you really need to relish, and forget about the ones that weren't so good, because the ones that weren't so good aren't so important. It's the happier moments in your life that make up the happiest of who you are. Because the happy things is what's who you are. Because if you're enjoying it, then it's resonating with me. That's my word. Yeah. I'll try not to repeat too many words. That's one of my annoyances. Okay. And I'll try not to get off on any rabbit tracks either, which is digging holes out about different things. I am interested in a lot of topics. I'm very scientifically minded, although I was in the medical field. I love sacred geometry. I love numerology. I'm into tarot readings. I don't know if anybody is into that, but if you are looking at helping yourself in a soul level, you know, I'm also got a course I have, but I haven't done it yet. Transformational coach, and it is just bringing the true who you are kind of there. We'll see how it goes. That's for the future. I have a lot of work to do. I spend a lot of time learning things. In fact, I've dropped reading fiction novels. I do watch movies with my husband. That's our entertainment. But I'm totally into knowledge books, learning about absolutely everything linked to the world, including, learning about quantum physics. Go figure. I haven't really delved into that, but I am going to learn how to do moon charts, I hope, and that's one of my things. I have a whole list of things that I want to do in the future. So I hope that I can connect with some of you and I can help you, guide you through a transformational journey of a happier life with Linda May, the happiness coach, a positive psychology practitioner. Doesn't it sound awesome? I was a registered nurse for 41 years, and I was registered in it. We had a college of nurses that was our... Anyway, I think I talked about all that, but it's funny because you can be a transformational coach just by taking an online course. But you know what I have? I have a little bit more. I have 41 years experience of working with sick people. I have watched people die. I have helped babies into the world, although I wasn't in obstetrics very long, but I did help deliver babies as a student. Hey, mine was more the surgical medical field. I loved the technology part of it. Yes, and I do love technology. So, hey, the computer thing I am figuring out on my own, and I don't need a ton of help, but there's still quite a few things. All those fancy websites that people have been on for years that I'm, wow, how do they do that? I still haven't figured out how to put up one of those like things on your title thing on when you put your video on, when people see it. We'll figure it out. So bear with me. My site is up and running. And I just put my first video on that I recorded on Wednesday and couldn't figure out how to get it uploaded. Yeah, you can't use Clipchamp when you try to upload a video to YouTube, even though the bar is there. So had to look that up. Didn't have time with the baby and all, but I did. And today now it is Saturday. So from Wednesday to Saturday, my video has been waiting to get uploaded, but I did it on Wednesday. So I'm not putting 2 videos on today. This one is actually on May the 3rd, 2025. I should wrap it up shortly. I don't want to make my videos too long. People get bored. So I am Linda May, the happiness coach. You can call me Linda. And I'm hoping on gathering a good crowd of people out there. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for joining me this evening. Yes, it's a wonderful day because I have had a wonderful day. And keep positive, people. Maybe I'll just call you people. We'll see. It's going to evolve with time. Okay? Bye-bye from Linda, the happiness coach.